Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about why women complain endlessly. But first, let me say thank you to everybody who's been stopping by, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, even donating. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, or you're new to the channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, click the bell symbol next to it, and accept the email notifications. It'll help me grow my channel, and I would really appreciate it. Although, I don't think YouTube is sending out the notifications as they should. All right, so let's talk about why women complain endlessly. Now, some young men, some boys do this as well because it's a very effective tactic. Okay, let's get into it. I think that most men can agree that there is a tendency of women and weak men to find fault and to be critical of others and the work that they do because they are so insecure in what they're able to contribute that they believe that this will allow them to deflect attention away from their inabilities. And I believe that this tactic is coming to a head here in American Western society, because I believe that the left, the feminists, the women, and the blue pill men who want to go along with it, and the liberal men who want to get a free handout from the government and think that it's look, a lot of these people are sincere. They think it's the right, compassionate, moral thing to do. They don't know better. I believe that a lot of them, they've been overusing this tactic, and that the American people and that the majority of people are seeing it for what it is, and they're becoming sick and tired of it. Like, the last people in the world who should be complaining are NFL players, right? These guys are multimillionaires for playing a game. They're gifted physically, and they're, lucky in the fact that they're able to actually make a living using their gift. So the idea that there is some great injustice that they need to address at the point in a game that they are a part of, that they're paid to participate in, has the most focus on it, during the anthem, is it's out of line. It's the behavior and actions of a spoiled child. It's disgusting. Like, that's embarrassing. I'm not saying that the man doesn't have a right to speak out against what he might perceive as social injustice. Surely he does. But you don't get to do it at that place. You don't get to do it on somebody else's dime. That's the phrase. You're getting paid by someone else. And the reason why the cameras are on you is because of what they set up. You're hired help. So don't get any ideas. Don't get any airs. Let's focus on the women, because it's a little bit more excusable from a female. The woman is in an inferior position biologically. She becomes pregnant. Now, she doesn't have to in this day and age because of birth control and everything like that, but the biology is still there. The emotional wiring is still there. I believe she feels very insecure biologically, physically, and she makes up for it socially by finding fault, by condemning the entire system, so that whatever shortcomings she will have, and she will have them compared to a man, she'll be able to say, this is excusable. It's a preemptive moral attack on traditional values, traditional institutions, so that the integrity of these things can be called into question, and it can then be used to serve their interests, their wants, their needs, and that they cannot be called into question. So that's what it is. It's someone like Harvey Weinstein accusing you of mistreating women. You know what I mean? That's what it is. It's Meryl Streep or J.K. Rowling's accusing you, a working man, of not doing enough for social justice. It's an NFL player taking the knee before the national anthem because you, the people with traditional values, need to work harder. You're not getting it done. So it's guilt. In many instances, it's guilt, it's shame. It's, that's driving this endless fault-finding behavior. I mean, this is what the left is doing. This is what feminists do. This is what globalists do. This is your social justice warrior. That's what they're doing. And I believe it's coming to a head. I believe that Trump is well aware of this tactic and this tendency, and he's been using it this whole time. The prohibition would have actually worked if they hadn't have been so stringent. If they'd have allowed people to own alcohol in their homes and, privately take a drink, like if they'd have just said, we're shutting down bars, they probably could have pulled it off. But they went too far. They found too much fault. They did not allow people even the smallest of pleasures and considerations. They expected people to be too pure, too perfect. they found too much fault with them. Now, what I'm suggesting is that some of it was a show, just so that they could claim moral superiority. This is what I'm saying. Meryl Streep, J.K. Rowling's finding fault with other people. It's like, you've got to be kidding. Go ahead and donate $20 million. Go ahead and take what you have earned in life, the position that you've gotten to, and do some good with it. Don't find fault with others. The enemies of a free state will use the customs and practices of the free state, being inclusiveness and freedom, to tear down the free state. The person without values will use the values of trust and openness to tear down the people with those values. It's a joke. It's fun for them. The talentless hack who has nothing to offer is a critic of those who work in his field. The man with little accomplishments finds fault, belittles those with more accomplishment. This is part of the tactic of how the weak tear down the strong, how the unworthy tear down the worthy. Understand that if these people were complaining about a problem, they would do something and fix the problem. They want the problem. They want the problem to be there. They're inventing and making up the problem so that they can have something to hold over you. How do you deal with this? You don't deal with people like that. You do not engage with people like that. Unfortunately, that's 80% of the people. So as a person of honor and integrity, I hate to tell you this, you're going to be alone most of the time. But that's okay, because what should you be doing with your time anyway? Should you be partying and having a good time? You can, a little bit of that, sure. But no, you should be working and getting things done that you think are important. I wouldn't be surprised if when I say that, you think, that's really boring. I don't want to do that. It's not boring, okay? As you become effective, it becomes very exciting. Many of the ideas that we have that hold us back have been conditioned into us. Many men who are not very successful, they shame men who are successful, or they say, oh, that person cheated. It's not because there's anything shameful in being successful, and it's not because that man may or may not have cheated. It's because they are ashamed that they are not as successful. That is all. Also, and this goes out to the men, when the young man complains to the other men about, this or that, what he isn't aware of, what he's not understanding is that the other man doesn't care. The other man is not his mother, is not his confidant. It's just another man, okay? And I don't mean like he's complaining about the weather or some government agency that's abusing the both of them. I mean when he complains about personal problems and finds fault with the other man. Only your mother. Now, if a young, attractive woman comes over to a man and starts complaining to him, he's going to act like, oh, what can I do to help? That's terrible, okay? And it works. It's an effective tactic. So the young man sees that behavior. This is even on a societal level, like feminists and social justice warriors complaining. And he says, I'm going to use that tactic. That's what people do. That's how it works. It's not appropriate for a man. That's not how it works for a man. That's female behavior. And it's not acceptable behavior either. It's destroying our civilization. But I want you to recognize the tactic itself. In other words, you have men inside of the Boy Scouts right now who have been conditioned to believe that anything masculine is an insult, is an offense to women, to goodness, to decency. And therefore, they're going to allow girls into the Boy Scouts because they're that good. And if you say to them, that's crazy, that's retarded. Let the Girl Scouts take care of the girls, let the Boy Scouts take care of the boys. They say, you're being sexist. You know what I mean? They attack you. They morally attack you. Now, what I'm saying is that the left has used this tactic way too much. And they're doing it. It doesn't have anything to do with legitimate problems. It has to do with them wanting to claim moral superiority. Okay? So how many times can Harvey Weinstein talk about how great women are, and how you should defend and protect women? Bullshit. How many times can these famous movie actresses and, these famous people who knew what he was doing now stand up and say, oh, this is terrible? It's like, well, if it's so terrible, why didn't you do anything about it? All you're doing is engaging in this tactic of pretending that the faults of someone else expunge you from any responsibility of fixing your own faults or taking any responsibility in this world. What an easy way to go through life. Finding fault with others. There's whole industries built around this. And it's a way of looking at the world that enables a person to never really do any decent work, never any hard work. They just complain and find fault with others. So don't fall into that trap. And I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'll be coming back to this subject. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.